Hello, my name is Ilona and today it's March 3rd, 2025 and I've taken a look at a few things. Of course, I've shuffled the cards in my Dutch video, so if you want to see that, you can watch my Dutch video just to see the cards. There are a few things I want to mention. First of all, in Austria, people are actually going against this traffic government that has been formed. Again, there was another party that was actually really we had the victory there, but they are pushed aside because they don't fit in with the more leftist way of thinking. So the government put another, like a traffic light government together, and the people in Austria are not very happy with it. In Romania, we've got, of course, Georgescu, who won actually, as a president, but the European Union was against it, so they made it invalid, and they even taken him in for a while, and they just released him. And a lot of people are not happy with that in Romania and are going against that as well. So that's happening in that area. Probably going to look at Romania one of these days, maybe this week or maybe next week. Not sure about that. But that's a very interesting energy there. Hungary, again, against the support for the Ukraine in the European Union. They really don't want that. Orban does not want that. Mr. T announced that he is going to work with the sovereign state of the European Union and not with the European Union. That is not a state, so he's not going to deal with Ursula. Our sea witch doesn't want to have anything to do with her, so he's made it very clear. And I also mentioned there is something I posted on the Telegram channel. This was a message on a certain channel that says, with everything that happened, of course, with Mr. Z in the White House and the Ukraine, I'm going to take a look at that in this video as well, that this is not just the end of the Ukraine, this is the beginning of the end of NATO. If Mr. T cuts off all funding to Ukraine, the world is about to quickly realize that NATO is nothing without the United States. Without the threat of the United States military and access to the United States taxpayer money, NATO becomes substantially less powerful and arguably irrelevant when compared to, of course, other powers like Russia and China. Without the threat of the US military and, of course, the capacities of the United States of America, NATO loses all value. Their security guarantees would become next to useless. So we are really watching that falling apart in real time. And it's very interesting to see. Well, in this video, first of all, I've taken a look at Mr. Z, and of course, thrown out of the White House. That's very interesting to see. People are now also starting to wake up to that. Of course, there will be people keep defending him, but I also noticed other messages that people are starting to realize that really the biggest problem are the Mr. Z in the Ukraine, European Union, and the NATO, that they are the ones that want war and really don't want any peace. But I'm going to take a look in other card readings in this video as well. So the first card reading is what happened there with Mr. Z and Mr. T, of course, taking care of business and putting out the trash, so to speak. Well, we've got I had a few more cards. We've got the Hanged Man. It's the first card. We've got the central card, the Four of Cups. And then for the past, we have the Knight of Swords underneath the Four of Cups. We've got the Ace of Cups. So this is really about new beginnings and also changing people's minds, realizing this is not what we want, this is not what we need, showing people what's been going on and really what's been going on with the Ukraine, because people are starting to become more and more aware. I believe Kash Patel also released things in how many politicians in America were paid through the Ukraine. So apparently Ukraine officials brought out some numbers about that. Very interesting. And of course that's paid by the American taxpayer and other people's monies. Obviously the Netherlands also send in a lot of money, and other countries here in Europe sending all that money, and really we have no idea where it actually ended up. Well, at least it apparently ended up in pockets from the American politicians. So that's interesting. People don't want this anymore. They're moving away from this. And I think it's now going to be more and more obvious. This is really about waking up people and people starting to realize how things really are moving and working out. The other thing for the near future, we have two cards. It's the Tower and the Nine of Swords. There are going to be a lot of panic. Things are falling apart. Like I've mentioned, at least the message that I just read mentioned that without the US, there's going to be a big issue for NATO. Rutte, Mark Rutte, has been the Prime Minister in the Netherlands for 13 years, completely destroyed the Netherlands. Now he's trying to destroy, obviously, on a broader scale, but without the US, he's not going to go anywhere. And this is really things are falling apart, and that's what's being shown. The second thing I looked at, let's see if I've got all the cards in the right position. There were, I've two double cards, so to speak, which means the same card in a card reading. So I had to get my, the small one compared to the big cards that I've got to, make sure I've got the right cards in the right position. So the second thing I looked at was, of course, now in London, the European leaders gathered there. We had Great Britain, Keir Starmer, we had Macron, of course. Mr. Z was there, he was in London and meeting Charlie as well, King Charlie. Interesting to see. The Dutch, the Netherlands, Dick Schoof was there as well, and other leaders. And they were actually, and this was very interesting, kind of pushing or trying to persuade Mr. Z to clear up things with the United States because, well, that relationship is very important. Obviously, like I've mentioned, without the American help, really, there's not much they can do. If you just look at the European Union and the NATO, it's just falling apart. But this was very interesting. The cards I've got for this meeting in London, I've got first of all the Ace of Pentacles and the Fool, both new beginnings, especially the Fool card, very interesting. We've got the Wheel of Fortune as the central card. Things are moving, again, movement. We had this one in the past, so that was the Two of Wands, that was more in between, of kind of not knowing exactly where to go. And then that was in the past, and then we have the Ace of Swords underneath the Wheel of Fortune. So we have these three cards as this is the central card, the Wheel of Fortune, these are the influences. So these are new beginnings, and this one is new beginnings, and this one moving ahead, things are moving. This is so interesting. So I think this meeting in London is going to be very, very important in moving things along. And then this is very interesting. These are the two cards for the future, near future. We've got the Queen of Swords and we have the High Priestess. So to me, this feels that still some things will be veiled with the High Priestess. Some secrets may come out, but also some things will not completely be shown. So follow your discernment in this with the Queen of Swords. What is really true? What is really happening? Follow your own intuition in this. So things will be coming out that probably are not going to be completely clear, but this meeting is going to be very, very important. It will put things in motion. New beginning it's heading towards a new beginning. So I thought that was very interesting. My third question I thought was the most important one. I believe that, of course, we're probably working towards like a near-death experience. A certain letter in the alphabet, because it depends on your perspective, but I do believe that things are happening in that way, that ultimately the military will step in, but something will happen before that. And I believe this could be one of the things happening. That's why everything is so locked in certain positions. People need to see who are truly behind, wanting war, wanting this third world war. And it's really showing that NATO and the European Union are pretty much the ones behind it. And the Ukraine are trying to hold on to things. It's getting more and more obvious. And I just wanted to take a look if this is going to be used for that. So I do believe that ultimately Mr. T will make sure that peace will come there. But we still need to work towards something like a near-death experience. And could this be one of the things used to show that to the general public who has not got a clue what's going on? So it will have to look real. There has to be a serious threat. And of course with Russia and happening and with the NATO, that could be used to, get there, get to that point, get to that precipice. I truly believe that it's not going to get that far, that there is going to actually be a war. I do believe the dark energies wanted this a long time ago. I believe if Hillary came in 2016, that we would have been in an awful situation by now and already in that Third World War for a long time. So just wanted to mention that. So I just wanted to take a look what the cards would say about this. And we have the Ten of Swords. That's like a radical ending. We've got the Knight of Wands. So the Whiteheads are really doing this, following a plan, and they're probably going to use this as part of this. I do believe they're going to have more things will happen, but this will be part of that near-death experience. We have the Hanged Man, it's about changing people's minds. We have the Seven of Wands in the past, and this is the future. This is what it's all about. This falling apart of the dark energies, the Tower, the entire narrative showing what they really wanted to do. Of course, the end game, the ultimate end game is, of course, transhumanism. But people need to understand all the steps they were going to use to get there, like using the stings. Things will come, more and more things will come out about that as well. But also wars to get people in that position, to manipulate them, to get them where they wanted them to be, but that's not going to happen. It's all falling apart. But I believe this is all part of the chess game. This is playing chess at an extremely high level. People need to see it. And like I've mentioned, you see people now kind of separating themselves from Mr. Z and Ukraine. A lot of people, had them in, that flag, the Ukraine flag in their bio. I still wonder if there are some people left. I'm sure there are. But more and more people are starting to see that this is a disaster. And there's so much else going on. And this will open up other people, the perspective of people. And ultimately, this will lead to a radical ending of things and falling apart of things, especially connected to the dark energies. It's all necessary to play it this way. So I'd like to leave it at this, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.